RTM Diaries presenting to you by the one and only AJ RTM. We right here DMX settings, we are here Alicia Key settings, and like what Hawkins said, I won't be satisfied unless you like and subscribe. So obviously, 20 mile an hour again, for goodness sake, blood. Obviously, we're back with another episode of Travel Diaries, and obviously I know a lot of you, well, this is what I realized in lockdown, a lot of people are going to scenic places and pretending to say that they like them when they actually didn't like them. They were only going because it was trendy. But word to Billy Paul, RIP, only the strong survive. Those same people that were doing stuff for trendiness, they're not going there anymore. However, I know a lot of you want to go to waterfalls, but there's levels to this game. You have to have a degree of fitness. You gotta have the right equipment. You gotta know what to do in certain situations. These roads are waff, man. What do you pay car tax for? You gotta have, you know, you gotta have your wits about you. You gotta be careful where to Cardi B. As Bear Grylls says, you only get it wrong once. So I'm gonna show you two waterfalls, which I think are for beginners, and I say that loosely. The first one is much more simple than the second, but they're for beginners. I'm not going to give too much away because I don't want to, you know, spoil it fit or no. Alright. So yeah, the first one we're going to is Melincourt Waterfall. Pretty routine. Just on my way to driving there now. I've got a half an hour drive left. 16 miles. Absolutely ridiculous. Where the 60 mile an hour roads at? But yeah, I went there a year or two ago. So it's going to be interesting to see if it remains the same. Word to Rika Badu. Or if there's been a change. Word to Christina Aguilera, fam. So without further ado, let's get into this first waterfall that we're going to visit. Now obviously if you're coming to Melincourt Waterfall, it's the first one I'm visiting, by the way. If you don't come to this trail here, next to this sign, you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way, man! You're going the wrong way! Don't listen to Google where it's saying to you, oh, go up a hill. If you go up a hill, you're going the wrong way. Because when I first came here, I made the same mistake. I went up the hill only to find there's no way down to the waterfall. You'll just hear it, you won't see it. So if you don't come to this path here, then you're going the wrong way. Obviously, as I've already mentioned, this is a beginner's, you know, kind of waterfall to visit. So obviously you can see it's a steep bank here. Whatever you do, don't climb down them things, because if you end up in the water, you get soaked, get swept down, or potentially even worse. So stay safe, step steady, and don't climb down the banks. Also make sure you invest in some boots like these. Proper grip. You'll be walking through mud and stones, potentially crossing streams like this sometimes. It's a very handy investment if you come into waterfalls, because if you don't have them, you're going to put yourself in some problems that you probably really don't want to be in. So I recommend, if you want to come to waterfalls, get some sturdy boots, and yeah, that'll enable you to step steady. And as you see now, it only gets steeper. It's probably a 15 to 20 foot drop off down there. You wouldn't want to fall down there. I'll have you know that one. So look here, man. It's like we keep rising and the gorge gets deeper. That's the thing with a lot of these waterfalls, they run while they fall into a deep gorge, and then they flow out of a stream or river like this. So obviously at present, that river looks nice and calm, but these places can often be subject to storms, and flash flooding can happen. So if you look back over there now, you see lots of evidence of storms over time, lots of fallen trees, and yeah, it just shapes the landscape. Been walking for about 3 to 4 minutes now. I ain't really been doing this for a while, so it kind of feels new to me. I need to get back on my training regime. Like I said, you need to train as you need fitness. This ain't a walk in the park. And that's the fundamental problem. A lot of people, they seem to think it is. Well, I'm here to tell you and show you it's not. You come across a lot of mud like this, you just want to avoid it really, because when you get back to your car, the last thing you want is to get the car muddy. I'll have you know that. If it's been raining, it makes it a lot more difficult, but there's always places to walk to avoid the excessive mud, so it's highly advisable you do that so you don't get your car dirty. As you can see here from what I was just saying to you about the storms, we have a fallen tree that's ripped out of its root totally and fallen across the ravine just right there. Literally, this tree probably about 100 or so years old, and now it makes it even more precarious to, you know, cross over. Here's where the boots come in handy, because if you ain't got grip on terrain like this, you could slip and fall down, and nobody wants that. Even walking back there around the back of it, like, it ain't gonna be the sturdiest of terrain, but that's crazy, man. A whole tree ripped out. That's immense. So as you can hear it, you can also see it now. Melincourt Waterfall. After it's been raining. Wow. And I know it's been raining because we got another waterfall that's kind of formed on the other side. Just back here. Because the last time I came here, I was actually able to stand over there on the rocks. I got a picture there. But today, everything's all wet because it was raining yesterday. And as I just mentioned to you, a second waterfall has formed there and flown all the way down. So it makes everything a lot more treacherous and slippy. They say you should visit a waterfall after it rains. The pinnacle reason being is you get to see it in all its power like that. It weren't that powerful when I came last time, but it is this time. But on the downside, when it's this powerful, the vapor just goes everywhere, as you're seeing, and it's more treacherous to get closer like Leo. So, I mean, you could try like Pink said, but it comes with substantial risk. It comes with risk. Word to Lord Sugar in The Apprentice.
I find you a big risk.
As you've seen, it's a simple 10-minute walk to this waterfall. You get to admire the view from a good place. Ain't nothing difficult. I've done more taxing ones. And obviously, when I show you the next one, you're gonna see a change. Word to Christina Aguilera, fam. Give you a quick little story. So as you can see here, you've got a second waterfall, and it's more difficult to hop across all this because it's all slippy. I'll give you a story. As once at a waterfall I've visited before, a waterfall I've crossed before, and I thought I want to do it again. Faith Heaven Settings. Went there, crossed over all right. It was a treacherous sort of walk, well, crossing. But as I was coming over, I planted one foot, and I was going to get my feet wet. That wasn't an issue. I planted one foot, planted the other, and the other slipped from behind me. I fell back, I hit my head on the rocks, but luckily I didn't drown or end up getting knocked out. I had my bag behind me, and that was a cushion, aka saving grace. My cameras also got mashed up, but that wasn't the issue. It was more my well-being. But as I said to you before, when you come to places like this, don't take unnecessary risks, because you only get it wrong once. All right, I'm going to show you something now. So even like here, you'd think, oh, it's a simple crossing. That's slippy rocks. If you slip on that, you're going to fall all the way down into there. And it ain't going to be a pretty day. It's going to be a long one for you. And you might just tumble down like Portsmouth did from the Premier League. and you don't want that. But it's an amazing feat. Beginner's hike to a waterfall, I'd say one of the easiest ones I know. So Melincourt Waterfalls in South Wales. If you want to start waterfall hiking, here's a pinnacle place to start. Now on to the next one. Now time for the second waterfall, Henrhyd Falls. It's about a 20-minute drive from the last one. I'm not sure if you can hear it yet, but I sure can. But it's a whole different ball game. So we started off walking down this steep path. This ain't even as steep as it is. It gets steeper, as you can see of how I'm running down. So if you look there, you can see it a wee bit. We got about another 10-15 minutes to go before we get to it. It's just a straight drop off. It's very busy today, your typical Saturday afternoon, and this has gone against all my principles. I usually come these places off peak, you know, empty car park, got the whole place to myself and everything else that goes with it. But today couldn't make it out that way, and obviously as you can see there, it's very powerful because I said it was raining yesterday, so it's in full power. It's more powerful than when I came here 2 years ago, so it's making a big difference there. So as you can see behind me there, people are struggling up because it is a trek. And the reason why I call this one a beginner, see what he's dog off the lead for, man? He had the dog on the lead, now he's taking it off, bruv. Flipping idiot, fam. Anyway, what was I saying? I say this is a beginner one because it doesn't actually take that long to get to it, and it more, you know, just, oh, this dog, blood, move, blood. Just irritating, fam. It's more of a case of showing you, like, the challenges you could face and encounter when going to more difficult locations. But to get to this one, it's only about, I swear down, but move, blood. It's more about a 10-15 minute walk. I say walk. It's more like I'm jogging and running down. I'm not exactly walking, am I? We're nearly at the bottom. As you can see there, got a big ravine. But it's to give you the two perspectives of how easy it can be or how hard it can be. Reach the bottom, ground level, and I actually need the toilet, but me needing the toilet's not a problem. The problem is finding somewhere to use the toilet, because if it was another day there'd be no one here and I'd be able to do it wherever. We've got people popping out of all corners, dogs running around and everything, so it's more of a challenge. Here's a perfect place. But I'll show you something else. You see here is where the waterfall will run into. It run into this gorge here, then it just run into a river and it just run down through to the valley. Now how much water is in that basin depends on how much it's been raining. So obviously it rained a bit yesterday, not loads, so there's not loads of water in there. However, if it was to rain a lot more, there'd be a lot more water in there. And that's why you don't want to fall into a pool like that. So be careful. Word to Cardi B once more. So people might wonder why I wear these gloves sometimes. I'm gonna tell you why. It's a big misconception. Oh, roadman gloves, gardening gloves, home-based gloves. I've heard it all before. Word to Sunshine Anderson. And the reason I wear these gloves are because sometimes you have to touch things in places like this. As you can see, this is a wee bit dirty. Coming to the first bridge here. And sometimes you have to touch things. And if you do it with woolly gloves, it's gonna trash them. Whereas with these, you can just easily wash it off. And whatever's whatever. Plus they're light and they're comfortable as well. Not good for winter, but it ain't winter no more. But when I gotta touch all these stuff as I'm doing all day long, I don't really want to get my hands dirty, so they're very handy in that sense. I had to touch a tree trunk earlier that had fallen down to get over it. Did I want to touch it with my bare hands? I don't think so. But yeah, as you can see, all that aside, this is you come down into a valley and you climb up all these stairs. This is what I say, it's crucial that you have a degree of fitness, because this is what comes to coming to places like this. It's a lot of going up and down, like Norwich City, and it's a lot of going back and forth, like a Leah Horton, fam. Here, you have a surprise. Henrhyd Falls. Now, last time I came here, I was able to go behind it. Now look at this quickly. See people don't wear the correct shoes, not like me, maybe slipping. That's their risk. Don't take that risk. It could be fatal. Well, I think a few things have changed here. So obviously, you climb down there and have a wee look like these people. And you can also go to the back. Because I went there last time, but it's increasingly slippy as it's been raining. And you don't want to go back there and slip into the plunge pool, drown, cold water shock. Them things are very fatal. Evaluate risks before you take them, because you only get to take them once. So they've gone out, he's gone there and his dog. You better pray his dog don't slip. I'm gonna go have a look, see, assess what the risk is, and we go from there. So here's very muddy, as you can see. The rocks are very slippy. That's why we have the boots. Oh my days. It really is slippy. And that's about a 4 meter drop. Could break a bone if you have that. I have, you know. As I showed you a minute ago, people not coming here with the correct footwear, putting themselves at substantial risk. I don't do them things. I ain't willing to take them risks. That's why you have to invest in life to progress. It's a crucial factor. You know what I don't get? In life, some people don't have manners. I don't like that. You let people through and they can't even say thank you. It's a disgrace. Have manners. It's so simple word to Alicia Keys, fam. And people don't have it, blood. Peak, fam. But yeah, it's very immense here. It's slippy. So I'm just clutching to the edge here. Should be all right. You don't want to fall in that. These rocks are so slippy. And honestly, one wrong move and you end up in there. You may not come out. These plunge pools are usually 3 meters deep minimum. And you don't want to fall in there. But look how immense it is, man. Look at it, you got the sunlight coming in. It's just wicked, man. Jeez! Man said he's blazing up, you know. Blazing up, blood. More fall in. You better make sure he's got the right coordination to make it back to the top. But this is the reward you get for patience and perseverance. I said this is a beginner's waterfall, what I would recommend. Alright, maybe some will consider it's not. But like I said to you before, you put the work in, you get to see elite stuff like this. So obviously, if you're willing to push yourselves a wee bit, then this will be a good one to come to. Take it in and get a bit wet as well. That's part of the game. But just be careful and don't slip, and you should be all right. Woo! I'm moving out of here, man. My equipment's getting wet, and I'm getting wet as well. So let's move out. Quick time. Just look at the footwear people are wearing, man. Just look at it, man. People are honestly asking for trouble. Word to Jennifer Hudson and Iggy Azalea, fam. I'm telling you. Thing I'll show you, if you're brave enough, is a way to get down to the basement of the waterfall. Now we can go this way here, which I'm gonna do, or you could crisscross that way. But only do it if you're confident and brave enough. Do not attempt anything where you think you'll put yourself at risk or where you're not confident to do it. I'm just trying to get down, get an anchor. That's what I'm going to use. Plant another foot. And now we make our way. Now we've got this big tree trunk. How do we navigate this one? It's a very pinnacle question. Go over or under? Let's see how we're going to do this. I didn't go over it because it's a bit slippy on that thing there. If you're substantially lanky / tall, you may struggle with this. But I've got a bit of ease and I can make it through. Let me show you how it's done. So what you do is I'll pitch a camera here. I'm gonna get dirty doing this, so never mind that. Put my bag through. Ah, for goodness sake. Put my bag through. Then I'll sort of shimmy under and crawl. Ah! Crawl. And you make it under like that. Pretty simple. But I'll have you know, I'm not going back up that way. And then it's just a case of navigating the way you think is safest to make your way down. Avoid the tree trunks, because they're slippy as hell. They're slippy as hell, man. So you wear the boots, and you're good. Sorry, it's a bit shaky, but just trying to make our way down. I'm about to show you now why these boots are so important to me. Submerged, and I ain't wet. It's called an investment. What I will say also is, when walking on these rocks, do be careful. This is how I slipped last time. I wasn't careful, lost my footing, and it was a game over. You don't really want to get your feet wet. That's the last thing you want to do. If you have to do it, you have to do it. If you don't have to do it, don't do it. Trust me. Whoa! See what I mean? Like Rihanna said, it really is Russian roulette when it comes to walking on these stones. Because you won't be walking on water like Jesus. I will have you know that. And I'll show you how slippery one of these rocks can be. So let's say I got my foot here. Watch this. No grip, no traction. You will just slide off and end up in the water. Worst case scenario, you get totally soaked. That's the worst case scenario if you fall in. When I fell, I landed like this, so I didn't even get soaked. My foot did, but I didn't. That's why after, when I go back upstairs, I want to show you the key essentials, which I think you need when coming to a place like this. Yo, come down. So obviously, I'll show you something. I'll tell you what's the lifesaver right now. It's these bad boys, these hand warmers. I thought to myself at first, nah, don't need them. Waterfall, routine visit, I'll be all good. And I said to myself, nah, let me pack them. I looked in my bag, I thought I didn't have them. Then I looked and I saw that they were present. Lifesaver. Cause my hands are freezing, I've been in the elements for so long. I was gonna get out my digital camera, but not today, not today. I can't really be bothered with that. And plus, I've been in the elements for too long now. I've been down here like half an hour now. I'm just gonna warm my hands up. I'm gonna show you the hike back. I'm gonna show you some of the stuff which I think you will need when coming to a place like this. So without further ado, let's navigate like a sat-nav. Get out of here. Oh, hold on. This log's actually dry. We going over this one.
Наверное, мама пациента, чтобы держать обои.
Now getting down, it's about 1.5 meter drop. Gotta come out of the way so I can use that stone there as a bit of leverage and hop across. They're trying to get the kid up on this rock. Things you don't do, risk you shouldn't take. Gotta know what you're doing. Come on, make this. Ooh. Crap. Oh dear. Pays the cost, doesn't it? Drop one of my hand waters at home, one was in the water. Oh dearie me. Trust me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Huh?
You need good gripping shoes or you're gonna fall in. £85, but it's worth it, trust me.
Yeah. You know how much is that one?
How much?
It's expensive than yours.
How
but
much?
It's not serve this purpose.
Oh.
Okay? Ted Baker.
You wearing Ted Baker here?
Huh?
You wearing Ted Baker here?
Ted Baker? What?
Ted Baker to a waterfall.
That's what I'm saying. It's expensive, but
Yeah,
it's not for this purpose. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I get you now.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Ready?
That's a Ted Baker, you know.
All of you ready?
Be very careful.
Yeah.
I had to warn him, I'm talking about Ted Baker, but you see people in life just think they need to be flashy and that. When there's no need, blood, you know, like that. Out here, don't care if you're flashy. It's still getting dirty and still getting muddy and still on the machine when you get home. That's just what it is. People bringing their kids out here in shoes with no grips. I don't agree with it, man. I was talking about Ted Baker, blood. When these boots are better than your Ted Baker for this purpose would ever be, blood. Did I really just see a couple bring their kid here with a tricycle? I'm going back to see this. This is very interesting. Can't believe what I just seen. Someone said they brought their kid here on a tricycle. Oh, why did I not bring my chest cam? For goodness sake. So it turns out they're leaving the tricycle there. Because that's another thing with Henrhyd Falls. You don't actually know how steep it's going to be till you get here. So I've let you know, like I said already, it is pretty steep. It ain't a walk in the park. And then, like I said before, I say it's a recommended beginner one because a lot of people come here and you can just dust in and dust out. 45 minutes an hour, boom, bam, goodbye. Whereas other ones that I've been to, it's a physical climb down or even, what's it call it, a long walk where to Jill Scott. It varies, it varies. Sometimes you get the rub of the green, other times you don't. But that's just part of the game. And as you can see, it's just straight uphill to get back to the car. Honestly. But this is part of the game, like I've said to you, like. You can get a nice flat trail, and then you get steep ones like this, but coming to a place like this for like a second or third waterfall will show to you if you have the guts. And also the nerves of steel to come back. Cause this is damn steep, I'm telling you. I mean, like I said, I ain't been training lately. When I get back training, it'll be much easier for me. Plus I got equipment on my back. More people walk here with their 2 long hands and never know what's what. Don't know what time of day it is. This is perfect. Give the boots a wee clean before we get back to the car. So, before we wrap up, I've seen a lot on that waterfall trail, very eventful in many ways, but I want to discuss for a few things which I think are crucial, something starting to say, if you're coming to a place like this. So what you need is some plasters. In case you get a minor cut, graze, obviously, or anything, plaster, patch it up. It might be half an hour out from your car, hour and a half from nearest hospital. Patch up any wounds you may have. And I say hand towel, obviously smaller, in case you get your feet wet or anything else. You get wet, you get me? You could get soaked to dry yourself off, whatever. But bring a hand towel, particularly if you get your feet wet in the water. Because if you do, you just wipe it off. That ties into the next thing. Spare pair of socks. So spare pair of socks. In case you get your feet wet, obviously, you have to change it. Your boot will be wet, but obviously you wipe it out, dry it out, put on a fresh pair of socks. Because you don't have to walk long with a wet foot and then have to drive back and your feet are still wet. And that day you don't want. So spare pair of socks. Toilet roll. Obviously if you're bleeding or anything else, you might think you won't need this, but trust me, there will probably come a time where you will need some toilet roll. So make sure you just pack it just in case. Just an orthodox bottle of water. Now this can be used to like rinse your boots off, rinse your hands if you need to, your hands get dirty or whatever. It's very handy this, very handy. Bare bottle of water just in case anything really, because you never know. Hands get sticky, you're eating, no water out here, unless you're gonna use dirty water. It's a spare bottle of water. I mean, I've also got this, just some tablets of cold and flu. With tablets if you get a headache. Because I won't lie to you, coming all these places and then walking and then driving and going back and forth like a Leah Horton RIP, it is a lot. So it's just key component to have a few crucial things. Another thing I'd also say, which I ain't got any today, some sweets you can snack on. Very good for morale, keep you going till you go get something to eat when you're leaving. Sweets for morale, Haribos, anything like that. Pitch perfect like Rebel Wilson. Another thing I would say also is a helmet. Now people might say, oh, why you need a helmet? You technically don't need one if you're not taking silly risks, but who's to say you're trying to walk across a rock and you slip and you hit your head and you're dead and gone like that song said back in the day, you know, like that. Whereas if you have a helmet, you're all good, blood, you know, like that, and you're protected. So yeah, those are just the key few things I think anyone should just bring with them if they're coming to a place like this, or if you're going to many of them in the day, even more so. But that's it. Henrhyd and Melincourt Waterfalls. Tell me what you think, if you've been to them, if you're going to go to them, if you like them. Let me know what you think. But I just recommend those for beginners, because obviously anything more is could be a bit too much. I could say, all right, LED Trail, it's about a 20-minute drive from here, but that is taxing, and that's the big one. That's big level stuff, so I didn't say it. But yeah, RTM Diaries presented to you by the one on AJ RTM. Make sure you smash a like, subscribe, leave your thoughts and feelings. Presented to you Travel Diaries once more. We're out here in Wales. It's getting a wee bit chilly and I'm hungry like Tyrese Gibson in Too Fast, Too Furious, and I'm out. Peace.